So hey guys, what's up? We're here with Matt Rector of Reluctant Zero. This is part of the Noah Local Band project. You guys know, we've been here chilling. All right, so let's talk about you. So how did Reluctant Zero get started?
Um, I had personally gone through a prolonged period of time where I was physically ill,
Mm,
and I wasn't able to do music, and so when I came out of that, I just started writing songs, and after about a year and a half, I finally I had enough songs that I wanted to take to a studio.
mm-hmm.
I wanted to make a good recording of it, and I didn't really know what I was going to do with it. All I knew was that I wanted to make the album. And
Mm-hmm.
I talked to an old friend of mine, Chris Scott, who I hadn't talked to in years. He was a drummer. And I asked him, can you do me a solid and kind of come on this album and record some drums for me?
Yeah.
And through that we kind of just reconnected, and after we were done with the album, he was really proud of it, as I was, and he was like, look, you want to start a band with this thing, I want to be a part of it.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, and so we started jamming, and I hit up my brother David, and he plays bass, and so we kind of just started. We were a three-piece for a long time, and
Mm-hmm.
last fall we added in a second guitar player named Felix Barca. um,
Nice.
yeah.
Awesome. So it sounds like you were like a musician before your
Yes. Yeah. I've been doing music since I was about 10 years old.
Okay.
Um,
How'd you get started with that?
when I was in elementary school, my parents wanted me to get involved in something, and I was never
Yeah.
really sports. It wasn't really my thing, and I gravitated towards music. I played cello in the orchestra for a couple years,
Oh,
and
nice. I love the
oh yeah,
cello. It's like my
it's a
favorite
great
instrument.
instrument. Yeah, it's one of the most beautiful sounding instruments there is. It
It
really
really
is.
is.
And but my parents or they were theater people. I had kind of
Oh,
a
okay.
I had kind of a strange upbringing. From the time I was 8, I was on tour with them for like 9 months out of the year.
Oh, that's so interesting.
It was a very interesting upbringing, just around a bunch of actors and crew, and I it definitely helped shape who I was. But because of that, I would end up, my mom would homeschool me, and so I would be caught up school wise. But when it came to the cello, I would always fall behind because there was not much I could really do while I was on the road. And
Right. Yeah, like how are you gonna lug that big old cello around?
exactly. And so once, after a couple of years of that, I was just like, all right, this isn't working for me. And I happened to pick up the guitar, and then that was just
Mm,
it. You know, that was like,
nice.
that's what I was made to do.
Nice. So, what was your this is a good question that I like to ask people.
Mhm.
So like what was your like list of favorite bands when you were in middle school?
In middle school, okay,
Yeah,
all right. Nirvana.
of course.
Nirvana was huge for me. Green Day. Um,
Nice.
I'm 36, so I grew up in the 90s, and
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, I would say a lot of Nirvana, Green Day, Smashing Pumpkins for sure.
The good stuff.
The good stuff,
The
yeah.
good stuff.
It wasn't until I was about 14 or 15, and when I migrated to the harder stuff like metal and shit like that.
I see. Yeah,
Yeah,
that seems to be the general like trajectory
yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. All right, that's super cool. Now I want to ask more about like you growing up kind of like in the theater sphere.
Mhm.
So like what made like so clearly you're comfortable performing because I feel like it's just like in your blood.
Yeah,
But
okay.
like how did you end up not doing theater? Did you or
No, I was never really drawn to it because it was like my parents' life, and
mm-hmm.
so I worked for them. Like once I got to be about 11 or 12, you know, and I could start actually contributing on the road. They let me work backstage, and they would let me help with stuff like that. But no, I never really gravitated towards theater. It was always music for me, always.
Nice. That is super interesting because like for me, I was a dance girl, so like
Okay,
the competitions, the whole nine. Um, but like that was, it was a thing that my mom put me into, which is kind of a
sure.
thing. So I'm just like impressed that like your parents kind of let you not.
Oh yeah, my parents are amazing, and they were beyond supportive of me. You know,
Yeah,
I think the only thing I could have done that might have like possibly disappointed them is if I didn't do anything in the entertainment industry. You
I
know,
see. Yeah, yeah.
if I was like, "Hey, I want to be a lawyer," they'd be like, "What the
What?
hell?"
Oh.
Yeah, but you know, they never ever pushed me towards theater. They always just pushed me to find what was natural to me, and that was always writing and music. And so once I latched onto that, they supported the hell out of me with whatever I needed. You know, they were always there. My dad, as long as they were in town, my dad was always there filming every single show I did.
Oh,
You
that's
know, they were
awesome.
so supportive.
That's awesome. Yeah, I feel like even, as us as like adults people, we really need that like support from our parents. And it's like really
Of course.
awesome out there when like I see my dad out there in the crowd, even though like it's not his kind of music, but he's still there.
Yeah,
So
same
that's
same here.
super awesome. Super great.
And you know,
Um,
I've played with musicians in the past that like they haven't had that, and
yeah, and
they
that's
they have almost a different mindset about it, you know. And
hmm
because like when you grow up with supportive parents in this kind of industry, it's all you think about is your art, you know. And because there's nothing else there, there's no barrier. But what I've noticed is that the musicians I've played with who's grown up with parents who haven't been supportive, who have been like, "You're not going to be anything. You can't do this." You know what I'm saying? It almost makes them competitive about it.
yeah, definitely. And it stops it from being like an expression of just like something you have to do, as opposed to like trying to prove somebody wrong about something.
Sure.
So that definitely gives it kind of a different edge, and I think that there's a place for that.
Mm,
But I think it's way more healthy to like have that support system there.
100%.
Yeah, that's awesome. Um, so like you started. It seems like you started your band kind of late. How did you like avoid like being in a band in high school?
Well, actually was.
Okay,
I was in my first band when I was like 14, I think. That sounds
as
about
we
right.
do. Yep.
Right, right. And I was in bands through my into my mid 20s, and
Okay.
I see, I grew up in Georgia when we were home and not touring.
Right.
Uh, I grew up in Georgia, and then when I was 16, my folks decided to move to Virginia. And so, pretty soon after I moved to Virginia, maybe a year or so, I met some guys, and we started a metal band called Shedding Skin. Um,
Nice. Good
we had
name.
it was we named it after because it was right around when Dimebag Darrell from Pantera died,
Oh, okay.
and that was like huge for all of us. And
Yeah,
so Shedding Skin was our favorite Pantera song, so that was our tribute to Dimebag Darrell.
that's awesome.
But yeah, Shedding Skin, actually we were around for about 3 years. People loved us more than we loved us, you know.
Right.
We ended up opening for back when awesome clubs around the area like Jack's were open.
hmm
We opened for Mushroom Head and like just
Mm,
a Flaw and a bunch of well-known metal bands that I mean that shit was invaluable, you know.
that's incredible.
Yeah, it was really really fun. And but then around 25, 26, my stomach problem that I've had my whole life, it just got really bad. And
hmm
stayed that way until about 3 years ago.
I don't know what it is about that age because, like, same. I got like weirdly sick at 25.
Really?
That is. I mean, you know, not in a horrible way, but just like I had a sore throat and cough for like 6 months.
Oh wow.
And like for me as a singer, like that was what? No, thank you.
Sure.
um that's awesome. So how was your transition from Georgia to Virginia? Was it like a big difference or how did that go for you?
Yeah, I mean, at first I was pissed, of course, but
Of course, as you would, as all kids
yeah,
are. Yeah.
right. I since I wasn't home too often in Georgia, like the the life and the friends that I had there were like everything to me, you know.
Yeah.
But no, once I did move to Virginia, my folks were really cool about, saying, all right, go out, do your thing, like build a life here, and I did really quickly, and I
Hmm.
ended up making some amazing friends. This guy Brandon McMahon that I'm still friends with to this day, he introduced me to everybody. His huge friend group down there in Alexandria, because that's where we lived, and
Okay.
so yeah, people like Brandon made it really easy for me to build a new life here, and I will forever be grateful to him for that.
Yeah, that's awesome when you like have a connection with like people right off the bat. Because like I lived in Maryland for a while, and I don't know, like even though like Virginia and Maryland are so close, like the people are so different, and it's like not
They
in a
are.
bad way.
They are.
Sometimes in a bad way, but
Sometimes.
like, but like, you know, as a kid, it was kind of really like hard for me to like acclimate because there was no one who wanted to just kind of like, hey, that little girl looks lonely. Do we want to like, but I think that's what's really cool about, which is why I love Virginia. I mean, I've always lived in Virginia,
Mhm.
other than that one time. But like, I feel like kind of anywhere you go, there's always somebody like willing to just like, I don't know, just like get like bring you into their circle. Um,
Absolutely. You'll find your people anywhere. You just kind of gotta look for them or let
yeah,
them find you. I was really lucky with the fact with Brandon and the people that he introduced me to, that I met them so quickly.
right.
I mean, I was friends with Brandon and them within a month or two of living in Virginia, and all of a sudden I had this huge group of friends, and it was just,
So
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. I didn't expect things to happen that quickly, but it was really cool that it did,
Right.
and it
So
gave me a chance to like kind of whatever I didn't like about myself in Georgia. I'm like, okay, these people don't know me. I can kind of be whoever I want to be now. I don't have to
yeah.
have the burden of growing up and being a dumbass and having those mistakes judge me.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of nice to get like the clean slate,
Yeah,
because like I've always been like kind of a nerdy kid, and so it's like hard to get out of the like, oh, that was that girl who like Naruto ran through the, you know, classroom. I don't know. It was
right,
just
right,
you can't really get rid of that. Um, so I was gonna ask, so Alexandria. So did you go to? Were you at Fairfax County then, right?
No, I was in Alexandria proper. We lived like a mile down the
Okay.
road from TC Williams. So I went to TC.
Oh, okay. TC isn't that's not Fairfax County?
No, no, that's Alexandria.
Oh, so it's like an Alexandria city?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I
Like
see.
Fairfax is huge and Alexandria is really tiny. It kind of just sits like right in the middle there.
I see. But I think we play, big in Fairfax County kid. I thought we played TC in like basketball and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, that would make sense. Yeah,
Okay. I was just like, what?
yeah,
Yeah, this whole time because I was like, I definitely remember playing TC Williams. So I don't
sure.
understand how it's like that.
And I mean, if I'm right, my wife is sitting right here. If I'm
Yeah.
right, TC or Alexandria only has that one
Yes.
high school, right? The
That's
one
the
public
reason.
high school.
That's the reason why everybody played
Yeah,
TC.
yeah. So like TC would
Oh,
have to
okay.
play other counties because there was literally no other high school there for
It
them
was
to
I
play.
see. That
Yeah,
makes sense. I was
yeah.
so confused for about 2 seconds because well, I grew up in Alexandria, but it was like the Franconia side. of
Okay.
Alexandria.
Sure,
So
sure.
like if I had like gotten older there, because we ended up moving to like Lorton, but I
Huh.
would have gone to like Edison,
Right.
you know.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
we spent a couple years in Lorton as well before we moved out to Woodbridge.
Yeah. Lorton, for that was one of my favorite places, I
Sure.
feel.
Yeah.
I ended up going to South County out there. The new high school.
Yep. Like we lived like right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was pretty cool. Like in that new, I loved the Newington Forest because like all your friends lived in Newington Forest. You could just like
Okay.
walk over to your friend's house. It was fantastic.
Sure.
It
Sure.
was awesome. So let's get into your music. So I sat and listened to a couple of things.
Hmm.
So on your Spotify, you have the whole album. So that's the album that you recorded. So you have two albums on here.
Yeah. We have two different albums.
Um, so that's the so which was the first one that you recorded?
The first one was Brace.
Okay, I gotcha. That's such an interesting like what is it? Order, because I feel like most people like meet the people and then like create the music. But like for you, like kind of having like written everything and like ready to take it to the studio and just build a band after that, I feel like that's almost easier for you to like um, kind of get people on board as opposed to like endlessly jamming and trying to like figure out what it's gonna
Yeah.
be.
Yeah. I mean that was the initial idea. Actually, was that my wife and I at the time we were kind of unhappy just with the area, and
Hmm.
we didn't have a lot of people in our life at that time. This was about a little over 2 years ago. And
We actually talked about moving.
yeah, and so we had really contemplated moving to like North Carolina or something. We have family
Yeah.
down there, and so the initial idea was that because like I said, I'd spent all this time writing these songs, and while I was writing them, I was recording demo versions of them, like using GarageBand and stuff.
Yeah.
And these demo versions actually got to be pretty complex, and because I worked on them on my own for a year, you know,
Right.
and so yeah, that was the original idea. Was I was like, all right, well, if I can record an album that is like great quality and I can already have the songs there, then if we move, I can use that to start a band. I can say, all right, here we got the songs, and we don't have to, like you said, we don't have to just aimlessly jam and try to find our
Right.
sound. We already got a set of songs, and then we can build from there. But then Chris kind of surprised me by saying, hey, I want to be a part of the band. And
So that kind of kept you here. Like you
yeah,
building the band kept you here in Virginia.
absolutely. And I couldn't be more grateful for that, honestly,
That's
because
so awesome.
the starting the band pulled my wife and I out of a rut that we had been in for quite a while because I had been so sick.
Hmm.
When you're that physically ill for that many years, you're not thinking about building a social life or having people to hang out with, and
Of course.
so then when you come out of that and then you realize, oh shit, like we don't really have anybody around anymore, that all changed when we started Reluctant Zero, and we just built this amazing group of people that has turned into family, and
Yeah, that's incredible.
one person I gotta mention here is the fifth member of Reluctant Zero, who is our producer, John Brooks.
Hmm.
When
Those
I was,
producer, they're so important.
oh my God, I never knew how important they were until I met John.
Hmm.
And you know, when I was finally ready to record what became Brace, I put out a bunch of feelers on the different groups in Facebook, saying I'm looking for a studio and a producer and who's reasonably priced,
Of
and
course.
John was one of the people who hit me up, and I listened to samples of stuff that he had done, and it was super high quality.
Mm-hmm.
And he had at that time he had what he called Blue Anthem Studios, which I found out was when I went to go meet John for the first time. I found out, okay, this guy's like 10 years younger than me, and
Oh.
at that point he was still living with his family. He had his
Mm-hmm.
basement turned into a studio, and he was like, I know that it's a home studio, but I can give you what you're looking for. And he delivered tenfold. You would never guess by listening to that album that it was recorded in a home studio. But then a year later, when we were ready to go back and make what became the second album, the EP, we of course wanted to work with John again. But by that point, John was no longer working in his family's house. He had moved on to a very reputable studio, and now he's working for a couple studios. And like, just in the span of the couple years that I've known John, he's become so in demand because he's just so damn good.
Right? Because I was about to say, wow, do you have his digits? I need to.
Without question. I want to give John more work because anybody would sound better having John Brooks in their life, for real.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. Where did the name Reluctant Zero come from?
It kind of just came to me one night when I was sitting here watching. I can't even remember what I was watching, but it was yet another, action movie or something with a reluctant hero. And,
Okay.
it just popped into my head, and it just stuck with me. And,
yeah, because it's very it's very snappy. I don't know. It's a good name for sure.
I liked having the R and the Z. It's a really good abbreviation, RZ. It just works really well.
And it's also like not typical.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super good. So like not related to music at all. I have to ask you. You have so many Funko Pops.
You haven't even. It's become a problem, Victoria.
Oh my goodness.
There's a lot of them, and we have a theater room downstairs, and there's all the Star Wars ones are down there. Yeah, there's like 300 or more of them.
The only one that's not down there is Baby Yoda.
Oh my God. So like what fandoms do you collect from?
I'm really big into Marvel and Star Wars.
Okay.
I have a lightsaber tattoo.
That is so so incredible.
Carnage and Batman and Superman and all that shit. So I'm really big into comics, and we also collect from like just some of our favorite movies.
Okay.
Die Hard and Harry Potter, and just different random ones that we happen to see.
That's awesome. I have a total of 3 Funko Pops.
Hey, you get started.
And I have Sasha Banks, like WWE.
Okay.
I
Right.
have all the Funko Pops other people have purchased for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because like if I start, I won't stop, and then I'm gonna be you. So
That is logical. Yeah, I get that.
Now we have to be very particular.
Yeah, we do. We have to be so particular about the ones we buy now because
Yeah.
we're seriously almost out of room.
oh my gosh. And I think I have, or maybe I don't have the right but purchase it for somebody else, like the set of like Team 7 from Naruto, because I'm a weeb. So
With Naruto.
yeah, I love it. All right. So tell me about this Listen to Me video. How did that come to be? What was the whole thing?
Yeah, that video, that was very much the band might have been partying one night and kind of a little intoxicated and coming up with ideas, and some of these ideas might have made it into a video that happened to be put out onto YouTube.
It just happened to me. Didn't produce it at all, didn't edit it.
No, I don't know how any of that happened. It's funny. If you look, there's actually 2 versions of the video, and there's like a extended version, which is like almost 10 minutes, which has
that
like
is the one that I watched.
Oh my God. So you saw the one with the whole story. Okay.
I did.
Yeah. So the idea
I'm
was
sorry, Victoria.
so the idea was that these magic cupcakes, you know, turned our minds into a that we were playing this show in the basement that people just showed up for it. It's a silly video, but we had so
I
much fun
loved it
making it.
though.
It
I
was so
loved
much
it.
fun to make. We had
Like
we
that
had
really comes across. Like it's just a good time, and like
oh yeah,
it shows your personality well, and I feel like that's what people want to see anyways. Like that's super
sure.
cool.
Yeah, we're all we've said one of my I won't pretend I won't even pretend like I came up with this. One of my favorite things that I heard Dave Grohl say one day was that with Foo Fighters is that we take the music very seriously, but we don't take ourselves seriously at
As
all.
you shouldn't.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
there's no way. Because I feel like once you start taking yourself too seriously, that's when like
That stops.
everything becomes shitty. It's just
Yeah.
like
Agreed.
what's
Agreed.
the point? Like
No.
you're not that important.
You're really not. No. It's very true.
Oh man, that's awesome. Um, I also really liked that cover you guys put out.
Oh, the Local H song.
Yes, I love that. Where were you guys playing?
Oh, that one was at the
That one was
Blue Fox, wasn't it?
yeah,
Yeah, Blue Fox
in
down in Winchester, Virginia.
Okay,
We
okay.
love that place. We played there, I think, 3 times. Awesome people, awesome
Good
place to
people,
play. Yeah, and like, there's always a good crowd of just good people who want to hear music. And I think that might have been our first show with Felix, right?
I believe.
I think that was. Yeah, I think that video was our first show with our guitarist Felix. And
Nice. It turned out really well.
yeah, I love that. That's the only cover we do at the moment. But we said if we did a cover, we wanted to do a song that everybody knows, but we wanted to do it really differently, you know.
Of course, that's the
Yeah.
best way to do covers,
Like
honestly.
I don't know, maybe it obviously didn't piss everybody off because it was a huge hit, but like, oh my God, when like Weezer came out and put out that cover of Africa, and it was exactly fucking the same. Like they didn't
Like,
change
what
anything. Like, what's
is
the
the
point of
point? What
what
is
is
the
the point?
point? Like, nobody really wanted that. Like,
No, no, they
so,
really didn't. Nobody's asking for that Weezer.
absolutely not. Oh man, that's so cool. All right. So what is your favorite song out of your whole collection of music?
That would be a song that people will be hearing very soon.
Okay. That's exciting.
So what we've been doing this year, since nobody's been playing shows, and
Mm-hmm.
we when the whole quarantine thing started, we talked about it a lot, and we decided we were not going to stop doing practice.
Mm-hmm.
That was not a decision that was popular with some people who follow the band, and I get that. It was not that we didn't take the COVID thing seriously. We absolutely did, and we still do, but we did not want to just lose all this time. And I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you know, when the initial thing started, it was like people were saying it's going to be 2 or 3 months, and we were like, there's no way. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to last a lot longer, and as we see, it has. And so we stuck to our practice schedule, which is twice a week, and I the type of work that I was in, I had 2 jobs that were contracting jobs, and they both just shut
Mm-hmm.
down, and I had nothing to do but sit around and write music all day.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I did, and I ended up writing some of the best stuff I've ever written. And we turned them into songs, and then we just started recording them. And so we've been throughout the year. We've been periodically going and seeing John, and we will be going back on August 31st to record the final 4 songs. And later this year, we will be putting out our first like full-length album.
Wow. That's so cool. So you said later this year, we don't have a date yet?
Not yet. We're
Okay.
deciding if we want to do it around like the end of the year, or if we want to do it a little bit sooner. we're definitely going to put out the first single probably within the next month or so.
Okay, super excited for that.
Yeah.
Do we have a name?
The single?
Mm-hmm.
The single is called Just Hear Me Out.
Okay.
And it is my favorite song we've ever done.
Nice.
And
Oh, that's gonna be super cool.
it's another, and people are going to be really surprised when they hear it. You know, I'm not trying to sit here and oversell it, but it's a little bit of a different direction for us.
Okay.
And it was something that when we went in to record the first two songs, one of them was a bit more, I don't want to say poppy, but like just a bit more, you can hear the Green Day and Everclear
Mm-hmm.
influences from my younger days, you know.
Yeah.
And John heard that, and he was like, he encouraged it, you know. He was like, I don't want to turn you guys into a full pop rock band or anything. He was like, but I think that you shouldn't shy away from songs like that if they come to you naturally.
Of
And
course.
so this album, there's only about 3 of them, I think, that are a bit more on the pop rock. But even then, I hesitate to even call them pop rock, because that makes it sound like they're not like rock. They still are.
Right.
So I'm sitting here going on a rant about it. I'll just shut up. But
No, you're good.
I'm really excited for people to hear them, because I think they're going to be pleasantly surprised with how good it is.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I'm super excited about it. So you said Just Hear Me Out is going to be coming in a month or so?
Probably, I would say mid-September-ish.
Mid-September. Okay,
Yeah.
that's really soon.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we've had that one recorded and mixed and mastered now for a little while. We were just waiting
For a
for the
good
right.
time.
Yeah, and we want to put it out with a video as well, you know.
Okay.
And so we've been working on the video a little bit, and so yeah, we've got a lot of stuff to announce there coming pretty soon.
Well, hey, that's awesome. Well, I think that we talked about, because we're going to be doing another one of these once your album comes out.
Absolutely, I would love that.
So that's going to be super fun.
Yes, I'm gonna have a lot to talk about there, because
Yeah.
this album has turned out to be something really special. It's beyond what any of us ever thought it was going to be, honestly.
Yeah, I'm super excited to take a listen. I just know that it's going to be great. Not even just from you saying it, I just have a feeling. So it's going to be
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Nice. All right, man. Well, this has been awesome.